Thank you for joining us for this refresher on how to determine the countable value of bank accounts. The issue with bank accounts is that some funds in the account may be a resource, and some funds in the account may be derived from income deposited into the account. When income is deposited into an existing account, the income must be deducted to determine the countable value of the account. Just remember these key points. Funds cannot be both income and a resource in the same month. Bank accounts, especially checking accounts, may have income deposited. Income deposited in a month has to be deducted before the countable resource value can be determined. The next issue with bank accounts is the procedure to follow for determining the countable value. Well, you have to know two amounts. You have to determine the balance before income is deposited. Then you have to determine the difference between the ending balance and income that was deposited. In other words, you will subtract from the ending balance any income that was deposited. You would then compare the two amounts. The countable value of the bank account is the lower of the two amounts. Let's look at some examples. In our first example, we have a bank account. We want to follow our formula exactly. Notice that on 2/10/2013, $1,000 from SSA was deposited. This is income. Now we want to identify the balance before income was deposited. That amount is $200. The next thing we need to do is to identify the ending balance, which is $300, and subtract from it the amount of income that was deposited, which is $1,000. The difference between these two amounts is 0. So now we have the balance before income was deposited, $200, and we have the ending balance minus income deposited, which is 0. The countable value is the lower of the two, so our countable value is 0. In our second example, we have a bank account that has an ending balance of $1,430, and there are some transactions on the account that we need to look at. Let's follow our formula again by first identifying where the income is. The income is deposited on 2/10/2013, and it is $710. The balance immediately before income was deposited is $960, so we'll note that. Next, we'll identify the ending balance, which is $1,430, and from it we will take the amount of income that was deposited in the account, which was $710. The difference is $720. Now we'll compare the two results. The lower of the two amounts we've just determined is $720. Therefore, the countable value of the bank account is $720. There's a final point that you need to know, and that is make sure that the amount that is deposited into the bank account is actually income. Remember, not all funds deposited into a bank account are income. Sometimes individuals will transfer funds from one account to another account. So, funds transferred from one account to another account are resources, but they are not income. Let's look at an example. In this example, we have several different types of transactions. Let's look at the deposits that were made on the 4th and on the 10th of the month. One deposit on the 4th was for $1,500. The next deposit on the 10th of the month was for $600. That increased our running balance to $2,900 for the account. Notice that SSA income is deposited on 2/20 for $700. So we can now determine what is the balance before income was deposited. In this case, the balance before income was deposited is $2,900. Next, we need to know what is the ending balance minus the income that was deposited. The ending balance is $1,600. The amount deposited for income was $700. So $1,600 minus the income deposited of $700 equals to $900. So our balance before income is deposited is $2,900, and our ending balance minus the income deposited is $900. The countable value is the lower of the two amounts, so in this example, the countable balance is $900. In summary, please remember, funds in a bank account cannot be income and a resource in the same month. And when income is deposited into a bank account, income must be deducted before the countable resource value can be determined. Thank you for joining us for this short tutorial, and I hope that you found the information that we provided helpful.